It's go. It's showtime, baby. It's go.
Showtime. So yeah, by the way, this is Lynnette, and this is Thrett Brown. So we didn't introduce you guys before the start. So today we're gonna talk about the death of self to be renewed. It was a deal. I think I got a title from Thrett Brown, but Lynette wanted to add a little bit of something on the top, so we just tried to twist it out. I think it's gonna be good actually. So for people who are watching right now, if you don't know them, like Lynette, she's an actress. She's an actress. She's also a producer as well. You guys can check out her Instagram. She do a lot of movie and things as well. And how Trish Brown is actually an entrepreneur. Is also a youth mentor. So he actually look after kids. Advise them. He know a lot of things about life, and he's actually has run his own business as well. So today we're gonna talk about the death of the self to be renewed. That topic is sound a little bit crazy, but the thing about you too, right? You are one of the deepest
Right.
people I ever know. Like every time I talk to you guys, to each of you, always bring it to another level. So today I think it's gonna be interesting. All right. So before we start, just want for people who doesn't know Trish Brown, I just want you to introduce yourself so people actually gonna know who you are. Let's go.
Man, again, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the opportunity that you guys just put together for me to be a part of your platform,
Thank you,
to
man.
get the chance to know your networks. And hopefully my networks is tapped into so they can follow both of you all in this conglomerates. So me, named Thrett Brown. I'm currently in Baton Rouge, Louisiana right now, which is my native area, Louisiana. And I'm on my way to Tacoma. I'm at the airport, so my plane leave at like 4:45. So I got enough time to come up in here and pack this. But I'm a youth advocate, youth empowerer, a business coach. I
Mm.
believe in inner self identity. I believe that that's important. And so I'm a promoter and a spokesperson for that to my best ability. A gang prevention facilitator. So those are some of the things that I do. And also I'm a water connoisseur. So I'm into the water businesses and things like that. So that's a little bit about me at the end of the day. And yeah, that's what's up.
That's what's up. Yeah. Hey, go, Lynette. I know everybody know you, but like you can still introduce yourself.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much once again for having me on this platform. It's always a pleasure to be around like-minded individuals and kings like yourself. So I'm super excited. But yeah, my name
Okay,
is
man.
Lynnette Renee Doby. You're welcome. I'm a writer, producer, and I also do inspirational and motivational coaching. So I'm just a little bit of everything. My job is to bring as much light to any environment I'm in, you know what I mean, and
Right.
illuminate the
Yeah.
truth. So yeah, that's the gist of me. Nothing more, nothing less. Peace and blessings.
Yeah.
All right. So for today's topic, death of the self, death of the self to be renewed. That sounds quite crazy as I say, but the thing is, this topic it can be twisted in two ways. I know, like when I was talking to Trent Brown, I think he was gonna bring it more in the level of a little bit of spirituality as well. I think when it comes to to Lynette, I think he was gonna be like thinking about more like changing your mindset, becoming a new person. So yeah, let's get it started now. So what come in your mind? Like, okay, Trey Brown first because that was your idea, about this topic. Why that topic? What crossed your mind when you thought about it?
So one of the things that's important to me is that, a
Yeah.
lot of people get it misconstrued when I say, I'm not human, right? So I stress the fact that
Mm.
I'm not a human being. And I mean that in a perspective of I'm not having a human experience. It's not that I'm
Mm.
not having a human experience. It's just that, in the space that I am, I feel that after this, what is it? And so I choose to be the inner existence. So I
Yeah.
exist internally, right? Most people speak in the perspective of, I'm a great person. I have a good spirit. And so when I hear a person say that they have a good spirit, that identifies a human being that possesses something. So I don't think like that, right? I believe that I am the living spirit inside of this physical form. We talk about spirituality a lot of the times, and that's cool, but I feel that a lot of people are human, you know what I'm saying? I get it. But when we believe in an eternal existence, how do you believe that your physical connection to an external existence is the truth when actuality, the spiritual existence connect with the energy? Our bodies don't connect with energy, right? It's the energy within a person that connects with the energy that's around you. Most people think that, but that's a human, that's a human mindset for the most part. So when I say death, I feel that the fact that I don't acknowledge myself as the physical form that's dead to me so I can live as my true self. Though I respect and I accept my physical presence, I don't negate that. I respect my physical form. We talk about this as the temple. You know, the body is the temple. So most people get themselves confused as being the temple, and that's where the line draws. So I kill my physical understanding to live in my spiritual existence, and then I allow myself to coexist with the duality of spirituality and physical. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah, so basically
Look at
what you're
it.
saying is that
Yeah.
you're a spiritual being having a human experience by way of your external transportation system, if you will, which normal people, well, not normal, but it averagely is called the human body. Is that kind of,
Right.
oh, that's
Yeah.
dope. Cool.
Very much. Very
I
much.
think I think the goal here is actually the reason why you want to do it for you is actually to become a better person, like to allow yourself to become a better person, to allow yourself to actually reach the goal that you want to reach or to achieve things that you want to achieve. You have to be more focused on the inside because the inside, when the inside is good, when you give more power in the inside, the outside becomes just great. And that's why he's trying to say to shift that power because we are more focused on the outside.
Straight
We
up.
don't really focus on the inside. Like last time I spoke to Thrett Brown as well, we was talking about like when you go to the gym or if you want to do something to push yourself, they always have that voice inside you that make you push you, make you want to do good things, you know, like, but if you focus more on that person, on that voice, on that spiritual side,
Right.
maybe things will be much
And could I,
easier for us. Yeah, go
and could
ahead.
I add to that too? It's like
Yeah.
when you say that, when you go to the gym and it's that inner, see the key phrase is, and it's that inner energy. So that's a person acknowledging something. You see what I'm saying? So when we say that inner voice, that's me saying, okay, so there is something. Me, I say I am the inner voice. So the body don't move until I say so. So I'm the voice behind the physical. You get what I'm saying? And most people, they speak with the perspective of they have a voice pushing them. I hear the voice in my head, and you know, I'm the energy. So when a person is inspired to do something, whether it's get up and go to work or whether it's tend to your family or do whatever it is, there's a drive that's unseen, it's untouched. You can't feel it, nor can you engage with that physically. So I am that. And when we talk about spirituality, I understand the duality of spiritual and the physical. Most people think as a physical with a spiritual. I think as a spiritual inside of a physical. And that's the disconnect from people. And so that's the death that came about. You know, when I killed that conscious or that subconscious awareness of, you know, we're all people, you know, and we're all going to experience things. And I say, I'm not a person, although I am a human experience. So I do understand when you say that we all are people and we feel things. But I just have a firm understanding that when this body dies, so if I was to ask a choice, if I was to ask you, there's an expiration date, right? Whether you're physical or spiritual here, there's something that's going to happen to where the body no longer exists. But we talk about the energy is everlasting. But when we're dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, people are afraid because when the body expires, people feel that they expire. And you do because you're a human being. But I understand consciously that when my body expires, then I fully live. But until then, I'm going to engage and do what I do in the physical level. If that makes sense. You
Oh,
get what
it
I'm
makes
saying?
a lot of sense. No, it's just
Yeah.
really cool because I've heard and seen the quote for years. You know what I'm saying? I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And it's
Straight
so
up.
nice to have someone who just doesn't say that in theory, but actually lives and practices
Thank
it.
you.
You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So it's just very interesting to hear because when you see things like that, the person who reads it, their mind may be like, well, what does that really mean? So it's really cool to see the embodiment of it. So that's
Straight up.
very cool.
So, Lynette, what you just said when it comes to that?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know it's a big,
So my take, you know me so well, Phone Crease. You know I took it from a mindset point of
she
thing
always,
because
yeah. I mean, I like the mix because now
right.
we are more into the mindset and even
Straight
when
up.
Trick Brown talk about spirituality, people don't have to get scared. It's not really like the religion thing. It's more like
The
everything who is
metaphysical.
not physical. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
saying. It's
Yeah.
more like the outside. Yeah. Yeah, go
For
ahead.
sure, for sure. Yeah, and I love this blend. It's going to be a nice smoothie of consciousness and awareness. So I'm excited. But yeah,
Straight
for
up.
me, basically, when I think of the whole concept, The death of the self to be renewed means, you know, just kind of eradicating all limiting mindsets and things that are keeping you and holding you back. So in order to even begin that, because, you know, I took notes. Phone Crease always laughs at me because I always take
She
notes,
always
but these
does
are
it all
my
the
notes.
time. She
But
was ready.
exactly. My number one step is awareness. You have to be aware of the uncertainty and chaos in your life. And sometimes that awareness is internal. It can come from a friend, or it has to be a true friend, I should say. A friend in the true definition of the word, not just an acquaintance, but someone who knows you to the best of their ability, because we can never fully, truly know another person, but someone who knows you enough to observe and see when things are not in alignment. Right. So
Straight
you
up.
have to be aware of that in order to counter what the issue is. So that's where I would believe that you would start. And I broke down, you know, just kind of an example, because there has to be a realization and acceptance that you need to be better. It can't just be a want or desire. Gosh, I want to do this. We want to do a lot of things, but that necessity, there's nothing that can drive it hard or drive it home more than that. So it's a
Straight up.
necessity to change. That's my step one.
Yeah, but your step one, I know you talk about the change, but that change have to be or if I try to mix it up with like what Trey Brown is saying, that change is more like is mental. It's more like you're trying to communicate with your inside, right? Your inner person. That's what you're trying to do. I think it's kind of the same thing. And what I believe, Trey Brown, what you're trying to say is you have to live
Yeah.
more with that, like the connection. You don't have to just talk about it. Like Lynette was saying, a lot of people talk about it, but you only see few people actually
Straight
bringing
up.
that personality out and then live with it. So how do you find the balance?
Okay. And so you say Annette,
Oh, it's
Lynette,
Lynnette. Lynnette.
Lynnette. My
Yeah,
yeah.
apologies. My
that's okay.
apologies, Lynnette. But so that I'm glad you said that like that, Lynnette, because what you're saying as far as the acceptance of that understanding to want to basically engage and want to thrive in life and want to be this identity of something that a person chooses to be, whether it's successful in money, whether it's successful in career, whether it's successful in the life in general. You know, I had to go through that perspective in order for me to come to where I'm at right now. So that is the first stage. I used to be in conflict with myself because I was seeking for something, right? And a friend of mine named Shivey G, he broke something down to me that made me better understand in my method of finding self and finding that understanding, that common ground. And he said, so if you was to go into outer space, what do you need? You need an astronaut suit, right? That's the only way that you can exist in outer space is if you had an astronaut suit. So when we're here on Earth, this flesh is my Earth suit, right? So I occupy this space, but if I was to get out of the astronaut suit in outer space, I would die, right? So therefore, if I neglect my physical suit here, then it's not that I would die, but I would live, right? Because that's how I exist. So now me jumping into that attachment piece of aligning myself to coexist in life, I had to do that, what you're saying. I had to adjust my mindset. I have to want to have a good life here. Regardless on how spiritual I believe I am, I have to want to exist here and do the things that I'm doing here, because if not, I would allow myself that nirvana, right? I will allow myself to go to a further existence of just physical death so I can experience my true identity. But I do want to live life and I do want to experience the great things on this planet, right? And so while I'm here, I have to do what you're saying, you know what I'm saying? Allow my mind to basically take what I want to do here serious, because we are living life and we can't ignore the fact that we living creatures, right, while we're here. And I have to become that understanding if I want to do great things while I'm here, because if not, I'll just expand to what I am and just forget everything. You know what I'm saying? And become that imagination. You know, people have an imagination and they think and ponder on it. But the imagination that I've created, that's my true world. And the only thing that's limiting me from being there is this physical experience, right? But I'm not here to kill myself. We're not here to put myself in harm's way, you know, but that is my ultimate goal. And so me coming back and just playing my feet on ground and saying, okay, so now what do you want to do in life? And if I want to get a house, a 4-bedroom house, I got to start thinking like a determined human being. If I wanted to be successful in a job, I have to start applying myself to the mentality of a 9 to 5 and take those things serious, regardless, because if I become too spiritual, I become disconnected and detached. And I don't want to do that, right? So I do want to live a good life while I'm here, but You know, the physical died a long time ago in me as far as claiming ownership to it being me. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I enjoy that one phrase, you got to find something to live for in this world if you want to remain here. And so I've been struggling with what's better than the afterlife, right? Because I take the afterlife serious. It's a real thing to me. And most people can paint a picture of what, not to be religious, but paint a picture of what heaven looks like. And when I painted the picture of what heaven looks like, I took it serious, right? So that's where I'm from, you know, and I can't believe in a power that says I'm not of the world, though I'm in it. So if I believe in something that's not of the world, then I must not be of the world as well. So if that thing said, or that person said that I come to get my people who's not of the world, though they're in it. So I'm something that doesn't belong here because this is not my state of origin. I'm a spiritual being, right? So I don't ignore my identity of a spiritual being. And for when we was talking on the phone last time, we talk about an identification card, right? People know so much about your ID card. You identify yourself as I'm 240 pounds. I got brown eyes. I'm 6'4". My address is such and such. And that becomes a reality to people. So when I ask a person, since you're so spiritual, what is your spiritual identification card recognized as? Where is it from? Where are you from spiritually? How much do you weigh spiritually? You know, and when people can't do that, then I have to realize that I'm speaking to human people on a human level. And if those human people can become more spiritual, then they can better understand me because I speak in all energy. I speak all spirit. However, now I'm at a place to where I want to live this human life and appreciate it, you know, and though I know that my imagination is real and the afterlife is real for me, you know, until I leave, how do I enjoy this? So I have to connect those pieces and I have to engage, like what you're saying. I have to adapt the mindset of structure, discipline, process, follow through, you know, and so, you know, I don't know. And scripture said this is just a body, and that's why I come up with that term. This is just a body. It's not me. I don't claim it as self. It's a possession. I possess this physical thing, and I appreciate it, and I'm gonna work it out because I want it to look good. And it's what we say, no, how we say, but not what we say. And most people just get wrapped up in life and the world and the things around them, and they get stressed and worried because of a job. I don't worry about stuff like that because that's you know what I'm saying? That's not real to me. I overcome it. I get through it because the energy, once a person say, all right, I got the momentum to do something. And then I say, I am the momentum to do something. I identify as that momentum. I don't have momentum. I don't have a strong spirit. I don't have, my spirit is powerful. I am that powerful spirit inside of this form. And when I realize I'm speaking to people that can't understand that, then I got to speak in their terms, you know, so now I got to be like a human being and speak like a strong one, right? So
I think
I get to go. My bad, man.
That's very good. I think that's very good because we always say to ourselves like, oh, I have a good attitude, I'm this, I'm that. We describe just the energy as something temporary, like not for something, like something that just happened in a few time and disappear. We forget like this is who we are. Like you, Lynnette, today, you want to do business, you want to do whatever you want to do. You have that drive. You be like, oh, you know what? I'm in a good mood today. I want to do this. You want to do it, but that's who you are. You are that person. And if you identify yourself as that person every single day, imagine what you're gonna be able to do. I think that's the reason why Thrett Brand is actually saying like he's not scared of job or whatever we have here. Some people might think it's crazy, be like, oh, how come you not be scared of this? Like it's challenging, life is hard. It's not because of that. It's because if you have that drive in you, you live with that all the time. Nothing really gonna scare you.
No, seriously. And the most powerful words that you use, and the most powerful words in a whole lexicon, I would dare say, are I am. And every morning after my meditation, at the very tail end of it, I say, I am. I am success. I am the amount of, money that I want in my bank account. I say that because that is what I am, because there's no, in saying I want or I need, it kind of separates. No, you are those things. Everything that you need is already within you. And I tell that to people and they look at me like I'm crazy, but everything is already there. We're taught by social constructs that we're not good enough. We're not this enough. We're not that. Once you kill, and so that brings back to my point. And that's actually goes to my third point, but we'll get into that. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and get into it now. It's my second point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Separation is that point. You got to separate yourself from the status quo, from all the things that people put on us, so you can elevate and become who it is that you truly need to be. Because there is nothing that this country and this world can do but tell you about yourself. Like you don't live yourself every single
Right.
day. Exactly. So you got to
Yeah.
separate, because separation, after you do that, elevation comes naturally. And that is just the elevation of knowing that you are enough. The elevation of knowing that, gosh, I don't even have a follow up from that. You are enough.
Just straight
You
up.
just the way that
But
you
can you
are enough.
imagine, like, you say you are enough, right? You live with that mindset every single day. Like, nothing really gonna stop you because you're always gonna have that mindset on every
You
single day.
know.
But what we always do, we always try to find inspiration to bring that personality on us. Oh, I have
Straight
to
up.
listen to the music to try to lift me up. I have to do this to try to wake that things inside me. But if you identify yourself as that energy, you won't really need to have anything else, you know, like your physical
Straight
part,
up.
like you today as a person. Do you need anything to describe you like you exist? No. You are
Right.
here because, believe it or not, that's who you are. You are that person. You don't need
Right.
anybody else to make you feel like you are alive or you are who you are.
Right.
I think
Because
it's
you
like,
validated.
that's what I'm saying. I think that's what he's actually trying to say. But there's one point here. It's all good to talk about it, but a lot of us, we struggle to become that person, even thinking about it, even being that person for like a few minutes or for a few hours or for a very short time. So how do you do to like if you are struggling to becoming that person, how do you do to put your fears away, your laziness away, and to become the greater version of yourself? For people who actually struggle, like myself as well, I struggle a lot. You can think about something, you want to be that thing, you talk about it, but to become really that person is like, it's always something that's trying to push you back. So how do you deal with that?
So
Who
I would
first?
say,
Oh, yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
so,
Go ahead.
and I'm gonna keep saying because Lynnette.
No, it's okay. It's Lynnette.
All
Lynette.
right, I'm not
But
gonna
you know
miss it
what you
this time.
did? But you know what you did? You combined my first and middle name together. You didn't even realize it. It's Lynnette Renee, so you combined it and you made Lene.
Look at that working.
Oh,
Come on now.
right.
Come on.
So you're good. So you're
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So it's like what Lynette said. That once you attach yourself to a goal, right? Then you have to become everything that it takes to achieve that goal, right? It's not going to happen. Now, if you don't want to be a spiritual person, you just want to be a person with a strong spirit and a strong drive, then all powers to be. Allow that energy, though. Since you know that you have a strong energy or you have that determination, then if you can't recognize yourself as it, then allow it to do exactly what it's supposed to do to make sure that you can accomplish your livelihood while you're living on this in your space or in your time, right? So that's one thing that I do, even before I became all knowing of myself as an energy, right? I had to allow myself to drive. I have to pull momentum from somewhere. And that's why I always say the phrase inspiration over motivation, because motivation is when you hear somebody telling you that you can do it, you got it in you, or they pushing you, or they promoting you, or they doing this. That's motivation. And when you persons lack that, then they lose drive, right? But inspiration is when you tell yourself, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make this happen, it's gonna happen, because your inner self is allowing it to manifest itself to that reality. And the thing that helps me understand like that, like you said, bringing both of those things together, the thing that helps me is like when I speak to some of the youth that I work with, when I feel like a young person that I work with understands more so, I would say, so let's identify the three similarities. You in a house, you in a car, you and yourself, right? So when you have a house, the house is just a house until something live is living inside of it, right? So it takes you to walk inside that house and cut the light switch on, cut the TV on. So now the life got activity, not a life, the house exists, right? When you walk outside to your car is sitting there until you jump in the car. You crank the car up. Now the car has life because you're in it. When it comes to the body will sit here until I tell it to operate, move, get up, go to the living room, go to the bathroom. So I don't separate that identity of those three elements, but people are stuck believing that they're of the house and it's something that lives inside them, that it operates everything. People believe that they are their vehicles. And until that spirit inside of them cranks it up and starts it and moves it, then it ain't going to go nowhere. And it'll sit there and rust and it'll rot out. The same thing with the body. People are believing that they're the body, and there's just something inside of them that's operating and switching them and doing these things. And so I become the living existence in all three of those elements. I live inside the house, I live inside the car, and I live inside the body. There's no separation from that. So when I want the body to go somewhere, then I tell it to go. When I want the car to turn left or turn right, I turn it left and right. And when I want my house to bright up with lights and cut the grass and things, then I make sure that I do that as well. And so when a person can understand that concept in its lowest terms, then they can start understanding what I mean by that separation. Though they got to exist together in order to have a reason or a purpose. So I realized that about myself too. So now I want to be a great car. I want to be a great house. And now that I'm a human being, I want to be a great human being, since that's what I have to do while I'm here. So that understanding is what makes me do stuff, bro. You get what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep driving this frame until it expires. If you keep driving your car for a long period of time, you got to do the tune-ups. That's your working out. You know what I'm saying? You got to go and get a diagnosis. There's some rereading and some researching and some meditation, right? The same thing. You want your house to stay right. You got to do appraisals and all of these other extra things. But at some point, the life will leave and it'll do what it do, and it's rot out. I'm never going to rot out. You get what I'm saying? I would never rot out. The car can die and burn up. I'm getting out of it. The house can grow old and crack and creak. I'm getting out of it. The same thing with the body. But again, I appreciate all of them, so I'm going to do my best to take care of all of them. And I have to appreciate them in order for me to take care of them to my best abilities. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Lynnette, I got it now.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on that, because when I want all of our audiences to replay this and hear this, in order to get where this brother is, you've got to do the work. And I would be remiss if we didn't spend a little bit of time on that, if I didn't spend some time on that. As soon as we come into this world in this physical shell, we are conditioned to be limited by other people's failures and their fearfulness to excel. So in order to get to where he is and to where I consider myself to be, it's a daily conditioning. You got to do the work. I am this. I am that. I am this. And don't think about what it is that you don't want. Only in the presence, in your third eye, I want you to see what it is that you do want. Like recently, I don't know, Phone Crease, I know you follow me, but if you notice, I've been doing a lot of appreciation for my kings, for Black men. And it's because there's a certain trial that's going on. And I'm not going to focus on that foolishness. I'm going to focus on the kings that are still here, and how I want them to excel and I want them to do well. So I don't overtly, come right out and say it, but that's what it is that I do. You always have to focus on what it is that you want, because thoughts literally do become things, and the more attention that you affix to something, it's going to grow. And that works for positive or negative. So in order, if there's anyone listening to this who's like, gosh, I don't know how I can be like Lynnette or, Thrett or Phone Crease, all you have to do is begin with day number 1. Realize that it is a problem and begin to counter it. Recondition your mind, because what enslavement is, it's not just the physical body, it's here. You know what I'm saying? So you got to break that through. So that's just all I wanted to say.
I think there's one thing you just said about slavery as well. I think if you have this kind of mindset, you're actually going to disconnect yourself from the whole slavery mentality, because the whole thing was quite physical. Like when we talk about being king today, mental as well, as well. So as I say, it's mental as well. But the thing is, when we always say we are king, we are this, we are powerful, it's because deep inside we know like we are that person. But people trying to make us believe like we are something else.
That's the conditioning.
The things that are affecting us the most today is not the physical part, because the way they treat us before, but now it's more like the impact that stays in our mind. That's the reason why, as Thrett was saying, if we focus more on the mind, we focus on fixing it, things are gonna be great. Because most people, what we do, we focus on like buying house, showing all this physical stuff we have, but deep inside us, we still feeling like the pressure of all the things, in the past, the slavery, all the pressure, it's still affecting us today. I think it's just part of the process of healing as well, if you're more focused on the inside. So And I was gonna say, Trick, what make you actually become that person? Because I know, like as Lynette was saying, to become on your level, you gotta go through a lot of things. I'm sure there's something that happened in your life. I know, like you spoke to me about your past, jail, gangbang, all these things in the past. But I don't know if it's because of that. But what makes you become that person? Who were you before, by the way? Before you become that person, what kind of person you
Straight
were
up.
before? Yeah, go ahead.
Straight up. But like Lynnette said, you got to do the work. And I started doing the work. You get what I'm saying? So it was no exception. I used to meditate and call it crazy. You know, that's what people would do. When you reaching out to figure out what that truly is, people would look at you then like, I fast a lot, so I dropped a lot of weight. So they thinking I'm on drugs or something. But I was seriously soul searching. You know what I'm saying? So I was really trying to find that thing. And when I realized people won't understand it, I stayed secluded to myself as much as possible until I understood what was going on. And in those moments, I started to experience things that, happened when I had witnesses to experience those things with me. So prior to me being where I'm at right now, one of the things that stood out the most to me, and I encourage a lot of people, and they take it as comedy, but when I was 15 years old, I had a dream about, I found the magic lamp, right? And I made 3 wishes at 15 years old. When I was in prison at 21 years old, I was standing in the very spot that all 3 of those dreams manifested themselves to me right then and there. And I felt empowered because I realized that, oh man, and I've literally seen it as it was when I was 15. I was like, man, that's crazy. So I encourage people to always search for a magic lamp in your dreams and make 3 wishes and just don't be childish with them, but take them serious. And then the other things were, so I used to have this obsession with telekinesis or the ability to move objects without touching them and things like that, right? So I used to meditate, and it's crazy, and I don't do it no more, and I'll share a little bit on why. But when I was 16, I used to have a dream that my head used to always be up in the sky like this. I used to always be looking up in the dream, and in the dream, I have to reach back and pull myself by the head just to look around in the dream, right? And then when I let my head go, it would go back up like this. When I was 26 years old and I was fresh out of prison, I found myself in my homegirl's backyard for like a whole week, meditating for like 8 hours a day, right? And for those 8 hours a day, my head went straight up to the sky, right? And I couldn't hold my head down, and so I reverted back to 16. This was what that was telling me in the long term. So when I was experiencing it, I was like, boom. So I can't ignore what I felt was real then is a manifestation right now. And I used to always have this thing about wanting to blow up an airplane, right? And and not to be judgmental about it, but I used to have this obsession about blowing up an airplane, right? So I
Yeah,
used to
all
sit
right.
on the ground. I used to sit on the ground and for 8 hours. For 8 hours, I'll look up and I used to just try to do it. And so one day, I was in deep meditation. And I invited my homegirl to come and chill with me, to meditate with me. And I said, there's no words that we can use. We can't talk to each other verbally or anything. Just sit here and just release. Don't think about release and just let it all out, whatever it may be. And she said, okay. She sat down for a few minutes, and then the energy, the universe spoke to me, and it says, so when you're always trying to blow up things to see what powers you have, I'm going to show you. And so when she stood up, as soon as she stood up, I seen her fall back in the chair, and she grabbed a hold to her seat. And when she fell back, she started crying. And she said, Thrett, man, I just stood up and it felt like something reached inside of me and pulled me down. She said, Thrett, I'm scared. She said, I can't move. She said, Thrett, I think you just did that to me. And I apologized to her. And when I apologized, she stood up and she moved and walked away. So what was going on in my mind is that as she was talking and trying to distract me from focusing, I was like, man, come on, quit talking. Just chill. I'm saying it to myself. And when she stood up, the voice that I am inside here, but the voice that I had in me at that time, it said with authority and demand, it said, sit down, like real loud. And when I said it, she did it. So I said, did I do that? And then after her confessing what her experience was, she said, Thrett, I think something did that, and I think it was you. I said, confirmation. I said, I would never do that again. So at that moment, I had to be mindful of how I feel about something, because I am energy, right? So if it's energy around me, then I'm connected to the energy, so I can make it still, I can make it shut down, or I can give it vibrations, right? And so that motion, I was just a regular person that always believed that. And I'm gonna share one thing real quick before I just get off my soapbox. When I was 12 years old, my mom had got this old house, and we lived in the old house. At that particular time, it was a storm outside. And so I went in the room with my mom, with my 2 sisters in the room, and I was like, Mom, can I lay on the floor? She said, yeah. So I made me a little pallet on the floor and I laid down. when I lay down, I'm looking around all around the house, and it's lightning flashing. It was an old creepy cabin, and so it's flashing and stuff. And then at one moment, the lightning said flash real bright, and then it popped with some thunder real loud. My body froze, and I felt like I was rolled over to my back, and a soul was poured inside me, right? And so when I felt the soul going inside of me, I got up and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I think something just spent me over and poured something in my mouth. Can I get into bed with you? Because I'm nervous. And so she said, yeah, get into bed. 20 years later, my youngest sister said, bro, do you remember that time when we was little and that one big storm that was at the house? And I was like, yeah, because I didn't think she knew about it because she was young at the time. And I was like, yeah. So she brought back a memory. She said, you know what? She said, that night, I seen the lightning flash and I sat up in the bed. She said, I looked over at you laying on the floor and I seen something standing over you. And she said, I said to myself, is that an alien standing over my brother? And so when she said that, that connected it to confirmation. So that day I felt that it's not that something entered into my body. It's just that I felt that this body was worth me entering into. But for a long period of time, I became the flesh and I forgot who I was. But then I'm to a place to where I say on that day at 12 years old is when I picked this young man to help grow inside of. And so I have my human experience here. So it's deep and I break it down more thoroughly on other levels, but that was when my chaining point was, bro. I used to always be in search of, though. I knew I wasn't regular and I knew it was something about me, you know what I'm saying, that I had to understand, regardless of who else do or don't, I had to understand it, and those confirmations just solidified everything about it. Off the soapbox. I'm off my soapbox right now.
No,
sorry.
that was,
Yeah.
I was in it. Like that was thank you for sharing that, because I mean, I can't relate to, of course that was your experience, but I can relate to one thing that you said. I've always felt the same way, that I was different, always have. And it's been affirmed to me in so many different ways. And like,
Right.
once you've kind of done the work, and I don't say this from an egotistical place at all, but I find I can't connect with like most people, because I realize that people still lie to themselves. I don't lie to myself. So to answer your question, Phone Crease, that was my point in realizing that I needed to change. I was just living in a consciousness that I just know was not right. I can't put a finger on it or articulate it to you guys, but I just knew that it just didn't feel right. It wasn't a homeostasis that I was cool with. So anyway, like you said, I always had the feeling that I was different, always different. And it wasn't, people refer, when they say that phrase, they're referring to, sexuality, whatever. No, it wasn't that. It was something that was so high that I can't even really articulate. But it just is affirmed to me, because I realized somebody once asked me, they were like, do you have an issue sometimes with having long-term friendships? And I was like, oh my gosh, I do. He was like, that's because you tell yourself the truth. Some people, once they're still in their circle of, telling themselves, or whatever the case may be, and that's not a judgment against them. But when you transcend that and you begin to be honest and real with yourself, it is a little bit of what some people call a lonely road, but I'm thankful for it, because a lot of people won't have an awakening. They won't have consciousness. So, yeah, so I can relate to that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But does it make you feel like you are not really rejected, but like people don't understand you? That's how you feel sometimes on both of you. Or you understand people better than they understand you, right?
I'll take this one really quickly, Thrett, just real quick, because I feel like I've always felt when I was younger, I was misunderstood. Now that I'm getting older, I just know that I'm different. And it's not, and it used to make me feel some sort of way. I used to be like, oh gosh, Lynnette, don't do the thing that you do. when I was like, don't do the thing that you do to exclude yourself. But it's just innately who I am. And once I've embraced it, watch out. I mean, I've manifested so many different things recently, even now, this space I'm sitting in, and even you, Phone Crease, you're like, you look so good, you look so different. That's because I had to remove myself. I had to kill parts of myself so I could thrive. It's like when you trim back roses so they can grow. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's my answer.
Yeah, no doubt. And I would second that what Lynnette's saying as well, because for when I was younger, I always felt misunderstood. And as I got older, I also felt more misunderstood, because now that I'm older, I was like, well, dang, adults should be able to at least understand me a lot more than what we was as children, right? But now I realize that maybe it's not for people to understand what I am, And maybe I have to accept the fact that I will be misunderstood and understand that in people, right? And so that's what helped me create an organic relationship with multitudes of different people, because I used to get frustrated when I feel like, man, you don't understand what I'm saying, bro. How many times I got to break this down to you? I'm saying it this way, that way. What more do I got to do? And so after burning myself out on that, now I'm saying, oh, I can't get mad if people don't understand me, because if I explain it one way, another way, and another way, and they don't get it, then it's not for them. And once I understand that, then I can have a healthy relationship, because if it's a negative relationship at that point, it's because I'm being more selfish because they just can't get me. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just make sure that I get them and I understand who they are and how to engage with them on their level, right? Because I do find the connection, like even as I speak to both of you, and my first time meeting you, Lynnette, on the Vine right now, every time you talk, this is where I'm at. Every time you talk, I hear the voice from inside the house saying, hey, what's up? Right? I don't credit who you are or what I feel that you are off of what we're visualizing right now. Because who I'm engaging with right now, it's not a real thing. It's not physical. You got a great energy, and that energy is you. You are a great energy, right? So even when we hang up the phone, I understand now that the better relationships happen when we're not talking to each other, because I can feel the vibes and I can feel the energy. So when people don't understand that, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if people don't understand, you know, because I understand myself now, you know.
Well, that's, I think
Blessings.
it's
Yeah.
true, you know, because when we're not together, the energy that you feel, you can still feel the connection that you had with the person before. Do you
Straight
think it's
up.
the same thing? Sometimes when you think about something and it just happened, or you want to say something or anything in life, and then a few minutes after like it happened. Sometimes people call it deja vu because we feel like something happened before. And it's something I
Right.
always struggle to understand, because I always feel like, oh, maybe it happened before, that's why it's happening right now. So I don't know, I'll just say something like that. Don't want to go too crazy. So Lynette, you have a part three that you also want to talk about?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. Lastly, I just want to say, and it kind of is a summation of everything we're talking about, is patience. I tell, because I do coach some clients, and it's not even a service that I advertise, because gosh, what you just said, Threat, just really.
Sorry, Trey, we're having a feedback. I think it's your headphone
Is it
going
me or
on.
is it I heard it
I
earlier.
think
Is it
it's
me?
no, I think it's Trey. Maybe do you have a voice? Do you have something on your headphone? No,
No.
No,
maybe it's
I
me. I
have.
don't know.
Yeah, I hear the feedback too, but I just assumed it was mine. I can still talk through. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I've been saying your name wrong. Is it Tret or is it Threat? What's your name?
It's
Tret?
threat.
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 Threat. Thank you, Threat, for correcting me. But yeah, so my final point is just, I think, just everything that we said in summation is the patience to love yourself as you're on this process, you're going through this process and this journey, because there will be some people who can't interact with you the same way. There will be some jobs you can't even work. There'll be some environments that you can't step in because you're different, your growth, your light. And other times in my life, I felt like I would have to dim my light to be around people. Now I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be me, and I'm just gonna let it, just flow and shine. Unless it's illicitly brought to me, they're like, well, Lynnette, I felt this some sort of way when you said X, Y, and Z. I don't take it personally. I can't.
Right.
I'm on my
Right.
mission. I have so much to accomplish. So that would be my third part. So focused.
It
He's so
really is
focused.
too.
Yeah. So I'll try to connect my headphone. It was playing off. So what is the third part, Trey?
So my third part would be, I mean, honestly, it goes back to Lynnette. It's the patience. I really do believe it's ultimately patience, because nothing matters off of what we believe, what we think, what would it be like, how can I get there? If you have all of those ideas and those thoughts in your head, you have to sit back and be patient. You have to be patient to put the process together. You have to be patient to follow through with that. You have to be patient to go whatever steps you need to take. Everything consists of the patience piece, and I second that to the strongest part. My other thing would be is, you know, if a person can't just be having a human experience and identify themselves as a spiritual creature or being, or however they want to label it, if that's not what you are, who you are, then allow whatever motivation that you have for yourself, whatever determinations you have for yourself, whatever drive that you have for yourself, if that's a spirit that you say possesses your life, then don't allow barriers to interfere, because if you allow that spirit to be as strong as we say it is, and that spirit would open up many channels and many doors for you. You can accomplish all your physical goals if you allow it to do what it does at its fullest potential. Doubt is what decreases your spiritual drive. The disbelief in who you are and understanding what you are is another critical barrier in a person's life. So if you're not the spirit that is unstoppable, then make sure that your spirit is unstoppable when you're trying to accomplish your daily goals. You know, and that's what I got to say on my third, man. And I appreciate all of this.
I think it's about knowing yourself, being yourself, and then living for who you are, like becoming that person that you are inside. So how do you protect that energy before we finish? Or Lynnette, you want to add something after what you say? Okay. Yeah, so how do you protect that energy? I'm going to leave you now.
How do you protect it?
Yeah.
I don't protect it. You know, I'm mindful of people that, I guess, play around with it. You know, I'm not here to, like you said, like Lynnette said, that's like dimming my lights for people to feel comfortable. I radiate. I'm very bright, you know, and I'm that fire, right? And so it can warm you if you know the distance, or if you know how to approach it, it can do a lot of great things for you. So I don't protect it, but what I would say is that in the process of a person seeking for it, I think that you should be mindful of what you're playing with, right? Because thoughts are powerful. Energy sent forth people are very powerful. And so when you're practicing and rehearsing how spiritually strong you are, you can hurt a lot of people, but you can heal a lot of things. So be mindful of the practicing, and I'm more mindful of those that I can hurt who have no idea of what they're dealing with. So, you know, I have to protect others from what they don't really understand, you know, and so there's no protecting anything. I just don't want to harm anything, right? So I live like that now.
Lynnette, what do you say?
I feel like with protection comes selectivity. Like I didn't even think we were going to have this conversation this deep, but I'm happy for it. But normally I only speak offline to people I know about this, because the mass consciousness that's out there, they won't get this before they leave this earth. They won't.
Go out. Remember what I said to you before? I knew this was going to happen, because I was like, if I mix them both together, I don't know where we're going to go tonight. So trust me, I was like, I don't know. I said to Lynnette, you know what? If I mix both of you guys together, it's going to go somewhere else. Even you're not. You're going to check your notes and you'll be like, no, I think I need to go deeper on this.
Right. Because,
go ahead.
You know, I think it's a gift. I think it's like for lack of a better term, because I don't want to minimize it, but I feel like it's a superpower to have this open, because a lot of people will live the rest of their lives not knowing. God bless them. And, you know, I try to help as many people as I can, but someone checked me, my best friend Jesse, he was like, it's not your job. You either can share it with people and they can like fall into place accordingly, but he was like, that's not why you're here. He said, just be thankful you have that awareness. I'm about to make me shout. And it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, you know, you have to. I live my life, and I hope I'm an example to people. But so many times, like, I don't even like text. Let me tell y'all real quick. I don't even like text messaging and engaging with certain people in messaging, because it's so misconstrued what I say. Because I'm a very I'm a person. I don't have any malintent for anybody, but I do find that to be difficult, and that's one thing that I'm kind of like, you know, working through. But you know, I just believe in selectivity, and where you place your energy, where it flows, it grows. So yeah.
That's right. Oh yeah. Where it flows, it grows. Huh? Go ahead, Lynnette.
Yo, Thrett, are you going now? Because I can't hear something. Are you going now, right? I didn't want to keep you for long.
Man, look, I feel that by the time we get out here, the energy is going to connect in alignment. I'm going to be good.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to do something offline on Zoom so we can really be connected. We definitely got to do something on Zoom.
Yes, I would love that. And also, I would love to do a Clubhouse room. If I don't know, are you on Clubhouse, Thrett?
No, but I can get on there.
I still got an invitation. Lynnette just want to introduce me there. I don't know if she still got it. I'll send one to him, so I'm going to add him there.
Okay. I
gotta do
think that
something
a
right.
room like this, because there are other people who feel the way that we do, we should do another room like this, because this was not what I expected, but it's what my energy and my soul needed. So I would love to share this with other people who would need this vibe. So thank you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Blessing.
Very
Thank you,
much.
man. Thanks for having you today, Trey. I'm sure you're gonna go now. So, anything you wanna
Yeah.
say before we go? Any last word you wanna say to anybody about the topic? Somebody just jump right now. Anything you wanna say before you go?
Only thing I'm gonna say is I take full consciousness of what Lynnette said. You know, be patient and make sure that you allow both elements to blend until you can separate yourself from be at any given moment. Allow it to coexist and let it build. But patience, I do agree with patience. You know, and be patient with yourself and learning through your spiritual experience. And when you feel like you're onto something, don't ignore what you've just done. Like when you walk outside and you say, I don't know, I just scratched and it seemed like the sun just got brighter, or I went outside and I exhaled and it felt like the wind blew. When it happens like that, you got to accept the fact that that was because of what you projected. And so don't ignore those and practice those more. You know, so that's my spiel.
Oh,
You know?
Yo, man, like, it was a pleasure to talk to you. And yo, I don't know what to say, man. Thanks for today. Thanks for showing up
right.
again,
Thank
man.
you.
Like,
I
Blessings,
appreciate
As
y'all.
blessings.
as Lynette said, we're gonna make sure we're gonna have a clubhouse because a lot of people need to hear what you're actually talking about. I want as many people. Every time I talk to you, I feel like I'm being selfish. I want people to actually listen to you. And today I'm sharing with Lynette. She feel the same thing. She feel guilty to keep it for herself. So we just gotta
Straight
share
up.
it, and we're gonna try to become the better version of ourselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
Very
let you go,
much.
Lynette. If you wanna say anything you wanna say.
Yeah,
I
cool.
appreciate y'all. Thank
Safe
you.
flight to
Thank
you.
you, bro.
Nice meeting you. Blessings.
Yep,
Yeah.
as well. Yep.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man. I'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, just I guess feel like in closing, I would just say, like, um, wow, that was just
I told
really,
you.
yeah. My cup is full. Like I'm feeling
Yeah, man.
fulfilled from that because the way in which he thinks and the way I think and we think, like I said, it's not the status quo. It's not what's quote unquote cool. And at different times, you do feel a little bit isolated because you can see things because of your awareness and because your third eye is open. You can see things a little bit differently. And so it's really, well, let me finish this thought because you kind of build within yourself kind of a fortress because you know that you're different. So it's really cool to be around that like-minded energy because it's healing and you don't really
Hmm.
come across it that much because my best friend is like this. Like he's my brother at this point. He's like that. But we're far and few between. So it's like you really become, because I'm a very social being. I am, but also I close up because my
That's why
desires are different from other
I didn't
people.
wanna hurt. I was like, I don't know if how she gonna get it because but everybody was telling me it was worth it, you're not. Everybody was like, I know like you ever changed the title. I was like, I don't know how she gonna get it, but I know you're quite a deep person. I always gonna
Yeah.
connect, but it's
Yeah.
good that we actually connect both energy. That's
Yeah.
why, yeah. All right.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's comforting to know that there are other people with this awareness and there are other people who are comfortable talking about it. And like I'm not one of those people who's big on this followers and numbers. I believe that everyone who was meant to be here was here. And I pray that the people who were here got something from it. I know I sure did. And I feel really good about it. So thank you again. You always are right on time and with your, providing the best content for your platform. So yeah, so I feel good.
Because of people like you, actually, without you guys, I was not gonna have a good content. That's why, yeah, appreciate, man. So I'm not gonna leave. I'm getting comfortable now with the live. See?
Yes, I see you did
So,
exceptionally well.
for
Yeah.
whatever, for people to listen to it, thank you for actually tuning as well. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna save it and I will post it on my podcast as well. So, Lynette, anything you
Yes.
wanna say before we go? Anything you wanna say?
Oh, I just want to say
You
thank you.
always
And
talk about your friend. I wanna like, what's your friend name again? You
his
always talk
name,
about her.
yeah, because he is a guy actually. His name
Oh,
is
he's a guy.
Jesse.
Okay,
Yeah, he's a guy. His name
Jesse.
is
All the
Jesse.
time, I was like, man,
Yeah.
this Jesse must be amazing.
Oh, incredible. He's that type of friend that I was describing about in the very top of this segment, that the person who will tell you the honesty because they love you, not because
Hmm.
you can do something for them. Ah, yeah, he's great. I don't want to get emotional, but he's great. He is,
Yeah.
yeah. just an amazing person, like a true, true friend. Like we're family at this point. But yeah, everything that, all the work that I kind of began and I started with my personal journey, he helped me with mine. And that's what it should be in our community. Each one teach one. Instead of judging different people, you know what I mean? Or, you know, being in a place or feeling that you can't be teachable. It's all about having humility and realizing there's growth that I can do to get to the optimal, highest form of myself. Not the highest form of you, because yours is going to look different than mine, but the highest form of myself is there if I do the work. And so that's if the people who are in this room are, you know, still here, thank you so much. Blessings for being here. But if you get one thing from me, from the lady, the chocolate lady with the big eyes, get this thing from me. You got to do the work. And you don't have to explain yourself to a soul. Do your work. And your life will just take off. It'll open up. So those are my last thoughts. Blessings, blessings.
All right, thank you guys. And if you guys make sure you follow Lynnette as well, she's amazing. And I'm going to repost the podcast as well, so it's going to be amazing. Thank you again for